5 straight losses. Wow, that's a tough pill to swallow to end the season. Nonetheless, welcome back to this week's edition of the Habs Fan Forum. I'm Ben Dankey, and of course, here at the Habs Fan Forum, this is where us fans get to have our voices heard. So let's talk about those Montreal Canadiens, because at this point in time, not feeling that great. There were a lot of lofty expectations being promised to us fans at the beginning of the season. And let's be real here, the regular season's wrapped up, and I'm not feeling the butterflies. Wow, what a poor end of the season. Now, don't get me wrong, I know there's injuries, but there's just so much more to this. And past all of that, just a bad stretch of games. They completely got blown out by a younger Sens team. They didn't even show up to the Leafs on the back-to-back there, and barely salvaged even a game there, but nonetheless still got kind of blown out 5-2. And they lost again to the Leafs on a hockey night in Canada Saturday, and then back-to-back OT losses. I mean, let's be real here. They needed 1 point down the stretch, and I was worried. I don't know if you were worried. I was worried they weren't going to get that 1 point. I know it was such an absurd, ridiculous scenario if they don't get the point. And then the Canucks or the Flames had to win out like 5 or 6 games straight, one or the other, against each other. But like the chances of them not actually making the playoffs were ridiculous. But nonetheless, the fact that I had it in the back of my mind, needing 1 point, shows how little faith I had going into this final stretch with the Habs. Because they were just playing terrible. What were they thinking playing Caden Primo in some of these games? Even the nothing game at the end, why throw him into that? Play Charlie Lindgren. You have this player available for NHL starts. Joseph and Rick from the Canadiens Connection went into this quite clearly. Just poor asset management to throw the 21-year-old in on a big game. I know Jake Gall needed rest. Don't get me wrong, he definitely needed rest. But play Charlie Lindgren. So, needless to say, I'm not riding a high into this big playoff matchup against the Leafs. And, that's not to mention, they totally had a chance to leapfrog a spiraling Jets team who just was playing terrible in the last 30 days of the season and was dropping down in points, and we were getting closer. I think the Montreal Canadiens even tied them at one point and just couldn't pass them. Frustrating. But would it even have mattered playing against the McDavid Oilers rather than the Matthews Leafs? McDavid, who is the best player in the world by far, leaps and bounds. The guy is on fire, point per period player. But the Leafs are also a juggernaut, as they might say. So I don't think it really mattered where they sat. They probably would have had a better shot against Edmonton. But at the end of the day, they didn't play like they deserved it, so they're taking the Leafs on. Take a little breath. Let's talk about some positives going into this playoff series. Because that Lehkonen, Evans, and Byron line has been hot. I don't know how you break that up. They just have looked strong, looked dominant. They have not been playing like a fourth line. They're looking great. That one game they had 4 goals. I know one was taken away, but they just have that pressure, consistent offensive zone, puck possession. That is a strong line. I don't know how you break that up in the playoffs. I'm sure they will because there's a lot of players coming back, but they're making a strong case to keep those 3 together. Same thing to be said about Suzuki and Caulfield. They just have this chemistry that's forming that I'm loving to see. Great playmaker and a great goal scorer. Just playing well, finding each other on the ice, scoring goals, getting points. That is the start of something very exciting. That being said, with like Caulfield and potentially Byron, Evans, or one of those guys on that other pairing there, who are you going to take out when these guys come back from injury? Gallagher, Price, Deneau. There's and even potentially Drew, and obviously Anderson, Toffoli, and the regulars are going to come back. But it begs the question of the lineups. And they were talking about it quite thoroughly on the All Habs Facebook page. You can go on there and see what everyone's thoughts were on the lineups. Even my colleague Chris G had his lineup laid out. And I agree with it, but there's a couple things I'm a little bit on the fence about. How do you break up this Lehkonen, Evans, and Byron line? And how do you take Cole Caulfield out? Even with his defensive deficiencies, that goal-scoring touch is going to be... they're going to miss that. So, curious to see exactly how they're going to form these lines going into this playoff series with the Leafs, especially with all these injuries coming back. So, they're expecting Price back. They're expecting Weber back. They're expecting Gallagher back. Don't know about Deneau. I wouldn't expect Drouin back, but you also never know. Let's be real here, guys. If they do not have Price and Gallagher in the lineup for their first round series, sign off, they're done. I just don't see how they do it. And don't get me wrong, Weber, Deneau, and any other injuries, definitely want all those guys back too, for sure. But I'm just talking about those two core guys, and they have to be playing, or there is no chance against the Toronto Maple Leafs. So next week, I will do a playoff series preview and talk about all my thoughts going into the Leafs and Habs first round matchup, first time since 1979. I live near Toronto, and I know a lot of Leafs fans, so it's going to be Churtville here. But ready for it and wearing this baby proud the whole time. Alright, thank you for watching this week's episode of the Habs Fan Forum. Please like the video down below and subscribe. Don't forget to hit that little bell to make sure you get tuned in to all the next episodes. You can, of course, tweet us at Montreal_Forum if you have any questions or comments about the segment. And make sure you are following all Habs for the best Montreal Canadiens coverage. Alright, thanks again for watching. I'm Ben Dankyu, and of course, go Habs go!